Welcome to Subramani. This morning we woke up to a terse message from Axis saying Mr. Joshi is no longer part of our team and he'll have nothing to do from 18th May, I think. That's good to see that this has happened. Now let me take you back to some incidents. I have trained as a chartered accountant and I've spent a lot of time with lawyers. I've gone to the Supreme Court 5 times with different people. And that is the time when you see a promoter, completely naked, right? He tells you what he did, what was right, what was wrong, and all that. That kind of confession you don't get in a promoter meeting when you go to buy his shares. That time he's saying only nice things. Here you have seen him completely. So that training actually helped me hone my skills, and I've been a chartered accountant in a very good company called Sharp & Tannen. We had very strong procedures, etc. So a lot of things would come out just because of the procedure. It did not require too much of brain power to do that because the process was such. But it taught me one thing. It taught me to say that every client is guilty till proven innocent. So when you went and met managements, and I met managements like say Supreme Industries, etc., you are convinced that this is top quality management. They don't have great ethic norms and morals and things like that written down, but they live it, right? So that is how you judge people. Another thing that you look for is the ability of the management to correct mistakes. So when Tata Motors launched Indica, it was a disaster. So that was a time when I had already sold Tata Motors and I was about to buy. I sold it when they announced the car project because I thought this truck manufacturer will not be able to make cars. So when they launched the car, I felt very vindicated, I felt very vindicated that, this is what happened, and I knew that they wouldn't be able to launch a good car. So I was happy that I had sold and I wanted to buy it back. The market had punished them enough. And that is the time when my friend Adil, he is still an expert on automobile, he said one thing, and my father also said that. My father used to be a vendor to Tata Motors in his capacity as the senior person in a welding engineering company. They both said something similar. They both said that, look, even if the product is bad, this company has the ability to come back, correct it and make a good car. And that's the time when I could buy Tata Motors at 60 rupees. Why am I saying this? It's because in the fund management business, I have seen and met and spoken with, say, Anand Radhakrishnan, Prashant Jain, Naren, and I find all the three of them have the humility to accept that they made mistakes. To me, that's very important, right? So when I give money to somebody, I want them to come and admit that yes, I made this mistake, so I'm correcting. So when I know that they make mistakes, they have the humility to admit that they make mistakes and they're taking corrective action. It means I need not take corrective action. Again, training as a chartered accountant, training in the law and all that help, and doing a lot of research help me choose promoters and check out whether they're making mistakes or is it a fraud, right? So when in Franklin Templeton the episode happened, the only question was, is there any integrity involved or is it just a mistake of it was a huge mistake. And I don't think the Franklin Templeton management apologized loud enough, at least. So the thing is, did I expect them to take any risk in ultra short bond fund? No. Did I hear the warnings from the market? Yes. Did I react? I didn't. That's my mistake, right? So we all make mistakes. So we have to apologize for the mistakes that we make. I should have exited ultra short bond fund at least about a year before the episode happened. I didn't. That's my mistake. But I want the companies to say, yes, we erred. I hear fund managers saying that, right? They have said, oh, I bought too much of PSU is not done well, therefore I have not done well. When PSU does well, it will do well. Great. I bought too much of banking stocks are currently not doing well, I expect it to turn around, so it will do well. So I hear this from fund managers. I'm very happy to hear that they have done something, they made a mistake and they are taking corrective action and coming back. Now what do you expect a big fund manager to do? I expect a big fund manager to say, yes, we erred, we made a mistake. We did not hear the noises in the market. We did not hear the whispers. We did not hear what he was doing. We did not, we neglected it, and therefore now we are taking corrective action. I remember when I was doing articles, two MNCs for which we were doing internal audit, they had the power to ask the managers to give their passports for their passbooks for scrutiny. So you could ask for a manager, even say internal audit manager, you could ask for his passbook and ask him to explain every entry. Now if I were a chartered accountant in a senior position in a mutual fund or in a life insurance company or in a bank or anywhere, as the head of internal audit, I expect that person to have the power to say, tell me the people whose portfolio you control. Your father may be a very senior banker, so you may not be able to control his passbook, or you may not be able to control what he does with his money, but your father-in-law may not be a big man, so you may be controlling that. Your wife may be herself very independent. Let's say your wife is a director or she's a very senior person in, say, Deloitte or Ernst & Young. Then they have their own restrictions, what you can do and what you can't do. Very, very severe restrictions, right? So if you're heading Asia Pac, you cannot invest even Sri Lanka, right? So those kind of conditions are there. So you don't really control your wife's money. So she may be just doing an SIP, or she may be keeping money in bank deposits. I know one banker who keeps money only in bank deposits. He's saying, you don't know how difficult our compliance is. So he does not buy even units of mutual funds. Now if I were in internal audit, I would want those powers over all my employees. We had those powers, and we have asked for passbooks which we may not have even checked, but the fact that we could ask was built into the service contract. Why would it not be built into the fund manager's contract or a dealer's contract beats me. I don't know whether it is there, so I'm just guessing. I have not done an audit of a mutual fund for a long time, and I wish I was doing one. I would ask for those kind of details. I would ask for a declaration saying, show me what assets you bought, and I want that declaration every quarter. Now if you were to believe the WhatsApp university, they're saying you have 14 flats, 15 flats, you have so many cars. I would like to know how we got it from, how we funded it, who funded it for him. Did he control his wife's passbook? Did he control his wife's money, children, father-in-law, neighbor, secretary, friends? I want to know what are the things which he controls. I am also worried about the colleagues who did not squeal saying, look, he's got so many cars, he's got so many flats. If it is true, I don't even know. I don't trust the media at all. I don't trust social media at all, absolutely. And I don't trust the media, because whenever I know the truth and what appears in the media, I see a huge divergence, and I know what appears. So I first look at the byline and say, oh my God, this is how it is going to be. Things have got worse perhaps, but definitely not got better. So, but I would definitely have the powers to see what as a board, I would talk to the fund manager once in a while, asking him how are things. As a trustee, the question is not what the fund manager did. I'm not even justifying it, but the question to ask is, what was the board doing? What were the trustees doing? What was internal audit doing? What was the statutory audit doing? These questions never get asked, right? When something like this happens, please ask these questions. What were the trustees doing? When you pick up any mutual fund, you see the trustee fees, you're saying, oh, they are there to take care of my interest. Yes, but what is the process? No fund house calls for a public meeting and saying, here today we will discuss the role of the risk manager. Today we will discuss the role of the trustee. It does not happen. 99% of investors do not know what role trustees play. So in case like even in say Templeton, did the trustees say we should do a sanity check of the portfolio? Should we do a liquidity test? Should we do a stress test? Do they do it? Do they do those things? So do the trustees ever go out and find out something on their own? Do they spend their own money and find out and ask for some special investigation on some managers? Do they ever do that? If they do that, do those reports come out? Do we have access to that? Do we have powers to look at it? Who spends money on those reports? Is it the unit holder? Is it the shareholder of the AMC, or is it the trustee himself? The kind of fees that I would get as a trustee allows me to pay for those things, right? So is all that happening? I'm more interested in knowing the whole process, what happened, and why there was a leakage. I mean, mistakes will happen, greed will be there, envy will be there, jealousy will be there. What about the other friends? Did they not come and say that, look, this is happening, you should look at it? Did they not squeal about it? Did the accountant not know? Can you look at his passbook and say, oh, last 4 months he has no cash withdrawals? Then how is he meeting his day-to-day expenses? I am wondering where were all these alarm bells, who was not ringing them, and if it was ringing, who was not listening to them. Those are my worries, because I want to know that process, whether it is Franklin Templeton, HDFC or Axis or Birla or anything. I want those processes in place. I want to see those processes exist. I want SEBI to look at those processes. That is far more important than saying whether how the fund classification. I'm not saying fund classification is not important, but the processes is what I want trustee and SEBI to concentrate on, and that I have no clue what's happening. So nice to see Axis take action, nice to see Axis come out and say, okay, we made this mistake, we erred, and now we are correcting. This happens regularly. Sometimes because this came out in the open, everybody knows about it, but otherwise it's quite regular to see employees being sacked for non-performance, for not having proper conduct. I mean, we have seen that happen in the past, but I want more visibility of those things happening. That's a request to SEBI. SEBI is in very good hands, and I'm sure the current SEBI chairman knows exactly what has to be done. She's been a banker, so hopefully we'll see better things. Thank you.